guilty. You look terrific. Right.
I have no problem if you're wearing a mask. Thank you.
All right, we gotta move on. Go ahead, Alex. Go ahead. Alex, don't be disrespectful. You're being disrespectful. Hold on. No, wait, I did not call on you, Stephen. Go ahead, Alex. You're next.
My first question is, last year, two questions. The first is, last year we were really kind of hoping that the holiday season would go well, sort of look normal, and then Omicron came along and sort of disrupted a large chunk of January, February schools, flights. Are we seeing a similar dynamic, especially with some of these new subvariants coming along? And then my second question, Dr. Fauci, for you specifically, what was the most difficult moment of the pandemic response for you throughout the last two and a half years?
I'll start with the first, and then obviously Dr. Fauci can answer the second. So the short answer is no. First of all, you can't predict with any certainty. So we don't know what Mother Nature is going to throw at us. That said, these subvariants, obviously we're tracking them very closely. The good news is, even if you see a diminishing of our vaccines, they're still effective against these subvariants.
Whether you're a far-right Republican or a far-left Democrat, it doesn't make any difference to me. I look upon it the same way as I did in the emergency room in the middle of New York City when I was taking care of everybody that was coming in off the street. So that's the thing that troubles me most about this.
Dr. Fauci, only 13% of...
Hold on 1 second. We have a process here. I'm not calling out on people who yell. And you're being disrespectful to your colleagues, and you're being disrespectful to our guests. I will not call on you if you yell, and also you're taking time off the clock because Dr. Fauci has to leave in a couple of minutes. I'm done. I'm not getting into a back and forth with you. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Dr. Fauci,
but she's
only
asking a great question.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
You asked your question. You should allow her to answer the question.
Jeremy.
She's asking a valid
Jeremy.
question, Dr. Fauci, on the origin of COVID-19.
It is not your turn. It is not your turn.
You can't understand people. That's the thing. You can't read a press briefing. You need to call from people across the room. She has a valid question. She's asking about the origin of COVID-19.
I hear the question.
And Dr. Fauci is the best person to answer
I hear your question, but we're not doing this the way you want it. This is a disrespectful. It is. I'm done. Simon, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with you right now. Go ahead. Go ahead. You're taking time away from your colleagues. Go ahead.
Only 13% of adults have gotten this updated bivalent booster. 78% of adults have completed their primary series.
Then we found out that it was aerosolized. Then we found out that 50 to 60% of the people who transmit it don't have any symptoms at all. So the recommendations that were based on what you knew in January, when you get to March, April, and May.
Aggressive oversight from House Republicans, a new majority next year that they've been promising on some
hold
of
on
these
1
very-
second. Dr. Jha is going to stay to take a couple more questions, but Dr. Fauci actually has to go. So thank you so much, Dr. Fauci.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can answer his
You want
question.
to answer it?
Yeah.
Okay. He says I'll
See,
answer it. Okay,
I'm a good.
go ahead. I'm just trying to keep him
all
on
right.
time.
The answer is, if there are oversight hearings, I absolutely will cooperate fully and testify before the Congress if asked. You may not know, but I've testified before the Congress a few hundred times, okay, over the last 40 years or so. So I have no trouble testifying. We can defend and explain and stand by everything that we've said. So I have nothing to hide.
Just a quick follow-up on that, Dr. Fauci. How much do you think, Dr. Fauci, how much, just a follow-up on the oversight, Dr. Fauci.
All right, thank you, Dr. Fauci.
Time for.
All right, thank you, Dr. Fauci.
Time for.
Joining me now is the Daily Caller's White House correspondent, Diana Glebova. She has had a huge run-in with Karine Jean-Pierre this week at the White House over Anthony Fauci and his answering questions about the coronavirus's origin. Diana, welcome to the show.
Thank you, James, and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, too. Hope you're having a great day. Now, you had an interesting run-in with the press secretary that went on and on for quite some time. Other reporters jumped to your defense. Tell us what that was all about and what that was like.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to unpack there, but just for a little bit of context, I did not plan to go into the White House briefing room and start yelling out questions. That's never my plan. Usually I go in there, I raise my hand, and I wait like approximately the 50 reporters in that room that go in there every single day. I sit down and I raise my hand and I wait to be called on. But ever since I raised a very important question about the migrant crisis approximately 1 month ago, I've been kind of blacklisted, and she's never called on me again. And yesterday, I knew that it was Dr. Anthony Fauci's last press briefing, and this was my last opportunity to raise one of the most important questions, I think, in modern history. What did he do personally to investigate the origins of COVID-19? He has not answered that question ever. And the other reporters in that room, they were lobbing, softer questions at Dr. Anthony Fauci about his legacy, about mask wearing, and things of that nature. And that's why I had to yell out my question. I yelled it out 3 different times. And finally, as you saw in that clip, Karine Jean-Pierre started yelling at me and the other reporters that stood up next to me and said, that is a legitimate question. Why don't you answer that? And one additional thing is in that clip, you see her say that I'm being disrespectful to everyone in that room by yelling, and that she's only going to call on people that don't yell out their questions. But she doesn't call on most reporters in that room. She has a very special list of reporters that she knows are her friends and are going to, just give her softer questions that don't challenge the White House. That's how it works every single day in the White House briefing room. So, what is disrespectful is it's disrespectful to the majority of the reporters that never get called on by the White House press secretary. It's disrespectful to free press, and it's disrespectful to Americans.
And Deanna, didn't, the NBC reporter almost tried to do a bit of cleanup for them, shifting the whole topic, not from where did the coronavirus come from? And by the way, remember Anthony Fauci sent money to people researching at Wuhan through his National Institutes of Health, turned it around into, those horrible Republicans are going to wind up, asking questions about this in the House. Shock, horror. How are you going to deal with that?
Yeah, a lot of the questions were of that nature, just kind of patting Fauci on the back and saying, thank you so much for the legacy that you've left. And I think that's fine. But at his last White House press briefing, we deserve to know some answers.
Deanna, before we go, it is Thanksgiving. The White House, while we stay on the White House, has released a bizarre list of Thanksgiving tips, although I would call them propaganda points, to help when chatting to what they call your uncle. And it includes Biden administration achievements, so to speak, including how they've brought down gas prices, even though they're still far higher than they were when Biden took office, and the fact that Thanksgiving is now so expensive, many families are canceling it. Deanna, nothing like a bit of gaslighting for the holidays, hey?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it is propaganda points. And if you look at the bottom there, they didn't even have enough points to fill up a whole sheet of paper. At the bottom, they talk about extremist Republicans. So again, this is just fueling propaganda, and it's saying, hey, confront that uncle at Thanksgiving. That uncle, of course, being a euphemism for Republicans in that family. Confront them and have a political fight over the holidays.
Well, there's nothing more fun, I think, than, at Christmas or Thanksgiving having a big old political Barney. I am often that uncle, and